So, we are going to start today's deep dive by talking about this very specific, I guess, universal kind of exhaustion.
Oh, yeah. The burnout.
Right, exactly. It's that moment on a really long journey where you finally stop trying to translate your vision for people who, frankly, fundamentally misunderstand it.
Right, where you just put down the presentation deck.
Yes, you put down the deck, you stop using all the, industry buzzwords, and you look people in the eye and you just decide to tell the truth.
I mean, it is the fatigue of constant translation.
Yeah.
When someone is attempting to build something entirely unprecedented, they spend just an enormous amount of energy trying to force it into old vocabulary.
Just so the market can digest it, right?
Exactly. And eventually, the friction of trying to make a revolutionary idea sound normal just becomes, well, completely unsustainable.
And that brings us to the source material for today. We are looking at a document born directly out of that specific moment of fatigue.
It's a fascinating piece.
It really is. It's an open letter penned by Shareha Adriann, who operates under the moniker the Mogul Madam.
Right. The architect behind all of this.
Yeah. And the mission for our conversation today isn't to just give you all a technical manual for a digital platform.
No, not really.
We are examining the profound why behind the architecture of what she calls the Mogul Madam Experience and the underlying governance layer known as the JSON Prime Association.
Because the letter really acts as a philosophical declaration.
It does. It lays out the origin story of an infrastructure built to directly cure the systemic burnout embedded in, modern ambition.
And you can feel that in the tone. It is distinctly reflective.
Yeah, it doesn't read like a corporate white paper.
Not even a little bit. It reads like a deeply personal account from a founder who has spent years observing the severe human cost of modern entrepreneurship.
Right.
And who subsequently decided to just completely re-engineer the baseline rules of engagement.
The best analogy I can think of to, frame the central argument of the letter is how we approach building success today.
Okay, let's hear it.
So the current economic landscape basically encourages us to build massive skyscrapers on top of, sandcastle foundations.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right, because the whole culture is just obsessed with the flashy penthouse.
The rapid scaling, the viral moment.
Exactly, the massive initial valuations. But the letter argues that we are completely ignoring the deep, invisible concrete foundation.
The structure that actually holds it up.
Yeah. It focuses entirely on pouring that concrete, so the operational structure, the governance protocols, the emotional regulation, so the building doesn't just collapse and, crush the people living inside it.
That analogy perfectly captures the structural critique she's making.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we look at the last decade of business culture, that penthouse first approach has been practically canonized.
It's celebrated.
Right. But the open letter begins by cataloging this series of deeply painful observations. Shareha details realities she watched repeat across various professional communities over several years.
And reading through those observations, it feels like a really stark audit of the modern creator and founder economy.
It's brutal, honestly.
It is. She points to people who are completely inundated with information, but starving for actual sequenced guidance.
Yes. And she describes individuals trying to scale massive organizations before they've even stabilized their own personal finances.
Or their mental health.
Exactly. The most prominent tragedy she highlights is this phenomenon of people burning out emotionally, spiritually, and financially, all while maintaining this highly curated facade of internet success.
Which we see all the time.
Right. And the letter posits that this isn't an accident. It is the direct result of a legacy financial framework she identifies as adrenaline entrepreneurship.
Adrenaline entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And the text ties that directly to an extraction model.
Right, which is crucial to understand.
To put that into everyday terms for you listening, an extraction model functions like a one-way ratchet. Or think of it like strip mining a forest.
Okay, yeah.
You can pull an immense amount of value out timber, in this case very quickly, to show high quarterly profits.
But you aren't replanting anything.
Exactly. Because you aren't nurturing the soil, the environment inevitably dies.
It has to.
The letter argues that modern scaling is driven by this unregulated momentum and, dopamine hits, constantly pulling value out of communities and founders until there is literally nothing left.
Well, and biologically and economically, adrenaline is meant for short bursts of survival.
Right, to run from a bear.
Exactly. It is an emergency response, not a sustainable operating system for daily life. The open letter argues that when an entire enterprise is fueled by what she calls revenue intoxication.
Revenue intoxication, wow.
Yeah, it creates a dysregulated financial nervous system. The founder, the team, the investors, they all become dependent on the hype.
And then what happens?
When that hype inevitably fades, the system hits a wall she terms re-entry shock.
Okay, but let me challenge the premise here on behalf of anyone listening who operates in the traditional startup world.
Sure, go for it.
The prevailing wisdom in business is literally, quote, move fast and break things.
Right. The Silicon Valley mantra.
Yeah. You hustle, you disrupt the market, you secure funding, and you scale at all costs before your competitors do. So isn't that adrenaline and that aggressive extraction just like the natural engine of a free market economy?
It is the established playbook, certainly.
Yeah.
But Cherie's letter identifies a critical failure point in that playbook.
Which is?
Dopamine-driven scaling eventually breaks the human operator. Move fast and break things. Historically ends up breaking the founder's physical health, breaking the community's trust, and creating highly fragile institutions.
So it's not sustainable.
Not at all.
Yeah.
The pivotal realization in the letter is that human intentions alone cannot prevent this collapse.
Even if you mean well.
Right. You can gather a community of highly ethical, well-intentioned founders, but without enforceable systemic guardrails, those good intentions will just fold under the pressure of the market.
Because the pressure is too high.
Exactly. The letter uses a very specific, profound phrase: wisdom unencoded because of bottleneck.
Wisdom unencoded becomes a bottleneck.
Yes.
So the argument is that a single human leader cannot carry the ethical and structural load of a growing organization indefinitely.
They'll just collapse under the weight.
Right. So the wisdom has to be programmed into the system itself.
Precisely.
And that leads us directly into the timeline of 2021, which is when the architecture for her vision really takes shape.
Yes, right in the middle of a highly chaotic cultural moment for technology.
It was crazy.
The timing is essential for understanding the sheer amount of translation fatigue she experienced.
Because in 2021, the cultural lexicon was suddenly dominated by terms like digital assets, blockchain, on-chain, tokenization.
Right, and the mainstream assumption was that this technology was exclusively meant for crypto hype.
Yeah, everyone viewed it as a speculative gold rush, buying digital art or meme coins and just hoping to flip them for a massive profit.
Unearned profit, yes. So people looked at the infrastructure she was building for the Mogul Madam Experience and the JSON Prime Association.
And they assumed she was just setting up another digital casino.
Exactly.
Yep.
But the letter makes it abundantly clear her vision was the exact inverse of speculation.
It really was.
She foresaw a near future where verification, accountability, identity, and the routing of actual value would require a programmable, immutable infrastructure.
So for her, the mandate to tokenize everything, that wasn't a marketing slogan for treating digital coins?
No, it was an acknowledgement that society needed an intelligent, trustless way to organize human agreements without sacrificing human dignity.
The distinction between the perception and the reality of her work is just vast.
It's huge.
I mean, think of it as the difference between minting a casino chip and minting a digital passport.
Oh, that's a perfect synthesis.
Yeah, the market wanted casino chips, something they could buy for $1 and sell for 10 based purely on, market sentiment.
But the letter explains her architecture was designed to mint digital passports.
Right. Immutable, verifiable records of an individual's capabilities, their structural integrity, and their measurable impact in the real world.
Because a casino chip only possesses value dictated by chance and external market frenzy.
Yeah, it's just gambling.
Right. But a passport holds profound intrinsic value because it represents a verified identity and mathematically grants access to movement.
Okay, so to enforce this, the architecture of the JSON Prime Association utilizes a foundational doctrine they call sponsorship over speculation.
Yes, sponsorship over speculation.
How does that actually work mechanically? What is the functional difference for you, the user?
Well, in a speculative model, capital pools together to chase passive profit.
Right.
Investors put money into a centralized pot, do absolutely nothing, and hope the line on the graph goes up based on the labor of others.
Or just market manipulation.
Exactly. The Mogul Madam Experience expressly forbids this mechanic in its architecture.
Oh, wow.
Capital does not pool for passive profit. Instead, capital is cryptographically locked to verified execution.
So it's tied to real work.
Yes, it is tied to the adopt emission framework, meaning resources are only routed when measurable impact in real human lives is achieved.
And verified by the system.
Exactly. Impact becomes the metric rather than mere liquidity.
This represents a total shift in incentives.
It really
I
does.
mean, a participant cannot enter the ecosystem to extract value. The architecture only allows them to participate if they are circulating value.
And that brings us to the core mechanical philosophy of the entire ecosystem, sovereign circulation.
Right. If the legacy financial system is the one-way ratchet we talked about earlier, the letter describes this new architecture as the wave.
The wave implies a breathing reciprocal motion. It represents an economic model where capital and opportunity only flow according to verified mission fulfillment.
So by encoding this into the ledger, the system itself carries the ethical burden.
Exactly. The human operator is no longer tasked with manually ensuring fairness. You cannot scale your operation within this ecosystem simply because you have, like, a massive marketing budget or charismatic appeal.
Which is how the real world works right now.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
But here, there's a foundational rule embedded in the actual code that governs how this wave functions.
Expansion follows calibration.
Yes, expansion follows calibration. This means that a participant's capacity to grow and access more resources is mathematically tethered to their documented readiness.
It requires actual institutional discipline.
It does. And to enforce this, the system employs a mechanism called progressive governance friction.
Okay, break down progressive governance friction for us, because it sounds like the system intentionally puts up roadblocks to slow the user down.
It does exactly that.
Wait, really?
Yes. Progressive governance friction ensures that a participant's institutional maturity and their financial literacy always precede their capacity to scale.
That is wild. Because unlike a traditional platform that wants you to grow as large and as fast as possible to, boost their own metrics.
Right, to show their investors.
Yeah, this architecture uses algorithmic friction to stall your growth until you have proven you can handle the weight of your current stage.
Precisely. The letter outlines how this layered educational, behavioral, and economic ecosystem creates guided pathways that force participants to pace themselves.
And the letter is very explicit about how this pacing is designed to feel for the user.
It is deeply intentional.
Cherie makes a point to emphasize the emotional cadence of this growth. It's not rushed.
Right. She wrote, quote, "Not all at once.
Wow.
Not through force.
Yeah.
Not through manipulation.
Right.
But through choice."
But through choice.
Yeah.
I mean, it is remarkably rare to encounter technology that is fundamentally designed to act as a governor on human ambition rather than an accelerant.
It's practically unheard of.
But let's look at the real-world viability of this friction. If progressive governance friction mathematically locks my ability to scale until I meet these internal calibrations, doesn't that make me incredibly vulnerable in a competitive capitalist market?
That's the obvious concern, right?
Yeah. If I am participating in this ecosystem and the system intentionally slows me down, a competitor who doesn't care about emotional regulation is just going to outpace me and take my market share.
Sure.
How does this model actually survive reality?
The letter anticipates this exact critique. The answer lies in the difference between short-term speed and long-term durability.
Okay.
Yes, the competitor running on adrenaline and extraction might win the first quarter or even the first year.
Right.
But the letter argues that the adrenaline model guarantees an eventual systemic collapse.
Mm-hmm.
By the time the competitor burns out, faces a structural crisis, or loses the trust of their community.
The participant in the Mogul Madam Experience has built an indestructible, mathematically verified foundation.
Exactly. The friction is designed to detox the participant from the anxiety of the race.
So it serves as like an ego detox disguised as an operational framework.
That's a brilliant way to phrase it.
Yes.
Yes. The system relies on math-based promises to protect the participant from their own worst impulses.
Because humans are notoriously bad at pacing themselves.
Right. So the architecture enforces absolute rules. Capacity does not equal money. Eligibility does not equal ownership.
Right.
Activation is not automatic. By hard-coding these realities into the ledger, the system dissolves entitlement before it can even form.
You literally cannot buy your way past the friction.
No, you can't.
It dismantles the illusion that capital alone equals capability.
And in doing so, it forces a profound psychological evolution. The letter describes the transition from being a seeker to becoming an architect.
The seeker versus the architect. Let's dig into that.
Well, the seeker is driven by chaotic anxiety, impulse, imagination, and the endless chase for accumulation.
Adrenaline.
Yes, adrenaline. The architect, however, is a sovereign steward. They build durable, lasting rails through documented accountability.
So the progressive friction is the forge that turns the seeker into the architect.
Exactly. replacing the chaos of revenue intoxication with what the letter calls executive calm.
Executive calm. I mean, in an economy driven by manufactured urgency, that genuinely sounds like a superpower.
Yes.
And it leads to the ultimate philosophical declaration of the open letter, which is that the system is designed for liberation, not dependency.
That's the core of it all.
Every mechanism we've unpacked, the algorithmic friction, the pacing, the mathematically enforced governance, it all exists to allow participants to progressively earn their own sovereignty.
Sovereignty is the operative goal. The architecture of the Mogul Madam Experience is fundamentally anti-coercion.
It operates entirely on alignment.
Yes, participants are given the agency to choose their own specific path, whether they want to focus on education, community care, entrepreneurship, governance, or just pure creativity.
They dictate their own pace.
And they define their own destination.
There is a realization detailed in the letter regarding this that completely reframes how we should look at technology.
The prison quote.
Yes. Shuri argues that systems built around permanent dependency eventually become prisons disguised as opportunity.
Prisons disguised as opportunity. I mean, that is a direct indictment of the current technological landscape.
Completely. If you look at the platforms we interact with daily, they are explicitly engineered to create permanent user dependency.
Endless scrolling.
Right. Social media algorithms are designed for behavioral addiction. Software has moved entirely to endless subscription models.
They want the user permanently hooked, reliant on the platform's rented space to reach their own audience.
Yeah, but the architecture of TMME and the JSON Prime Association does the exact opposite.
It really does.
It is designed to build the user up, to make them so operationally literate and structurally capable that they have the actual ability to independently walk away and build their own sovereign pathways.
The system is quite literally designed to make itself unnecessary if the user chooses to leave.
Which is beautiful.
And this approach directly aligns with the overarching mandate of the ecosystem, which is structured around the acronym HER, Heal, Empower, Restore.
Heal, Empower, Restore.
The letter clarifies that the technology, the ledgers, the JSON Prime Association, and the tokens, they are merely the invisible scaffolding.
The digital infrastructure is not the actual product.
No, it's not.
So if the platform and the tokens are just the scaffolding, what is the final product this architecture is producing?
The product is the sovereign, restored human being.
Wow.
It is an operator who possesses the institutional maturity and the executive calm to outlive the system's originator. Shareha is not trying to trap users in a walled garden to inflate her own metrics.
Right.
She has built an incubator designed to graduate architects who can carry the ethical and structural load of the future economy.
Let's bring all of these concepts together.
Okay.
This open letter is far more than a technical roadmap. It is an incredibly profound analysis of modern ambition.
It really exposes the cracks in the foundation.
Yeah. The Mogul Madam Experience wasn't built to be another platform for rapid extraction. It was never intended to be a speculative casino.
Never.
It was constructed as a highly structured, mission-locked architecture, and its singular purpose is to cure the pervasive burnout of modern entrepreneurship by replacing hype-driven scaling with mathematically verified contribution.
It takes the cultural sandcastle, dismantles it, and forces the user to pour deep, durable concrete.
For you listening to this deep dive, consider the environment we currently operate in.
Right.
We are drowning in information overload, manufactured urgency, and the crushing pressure to perform for algorithms that do not care about our well-being.
At all.
This open letter serves as a vital reminder that participation in the extraction model is a choice. You do not have to scale your life, your creative output, or your business through the toxicity of adrenaline.
True durability, the kind that results in a lasting legacy, is only built through paced, intentional, and highly governed structure.
You don't have to operate as the anxious seeker. The architecture exists to help you become the architect.
Beautifully said.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought experiment based on the frameworks we've discussed today. We explored the concept of progressive governance friction, where a system refuses to let you scale until you mathematically prove your structural and emotional readiness.
Right.
So imagine if the legacy institutions in our daily lives adopted this protocol. What if your traditional business bank or your mortgage lender utilized progressive friction?
That would change everything.
Imagine a scenario where a venture capital firm mathematically could not release your next round of funding until you proved on an immutable ledger that your corporate structure prioritized the mental stability of your employees and the ethical sourcing of your materials.
It's a completely different world.
Would implementing that kind of mandated friction across our entire legacy economy prevent the next great financial crash? Or would it completely paralyze the rapid innovation that built the modern world?
It's a big question.
It is something to think about the next time you feel the pressure to move fast and break things.